on page 24 of our Mishkan Tefillah, back to our Friday night prayer books. Yai lai 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 lai, yai 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 lai 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 lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai. Shalom Aleichem. Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem leshalom, malachei hashalom, malachei elyon, mi melech malachei hamlachim, hakadosh baruch hu. Shalom aleichem. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Barchuni Leshalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Welcome to Anshe Chesed Fairmount Temple. My name is Cantor Vladimir Lapin, and I'm happy to be here tonight sharing in services tonight with Rabbi Josh Caruso. Thank you for being here with us tonight as we welcome in Shabbat together. For those of you who joined us for our High Holy Day services, thank you for being with us. It was so powerful and uplifting to share in the holidays with so many of you in person and so many of you streaming through our live stream platforms. Our sages teach that a chuppah, or marriage canopy, becomes charged, becomes very sacred after the wedding couple is married, and that folks who want a blessing should come up after the wedding is over to stand under the chuppah. And I love after I marry somebody, people come up and they, not the married couple, but they take pictures, right? Like just under the chuppah. I think it's a good luck sign, and people do that. And like a chuppah, I feel like this bimah right now is still fully charged after a very meaningful and powerful High Holy Days, meaning that all of you who are here for Shabbat, both in person and watching, are going to get some extra Shabbat bonus points. So Shabbat blessings. So congratulations to all of you for those extra blessings tonight.
We're taking notes.
It's charged. After services, come on up and feel it. I believe me, it feels still very powerful to be standing here.
For sure.
As we prepare to light our Shabbat candles and to bring more light into this world, let us share in this reading found on page 9 of our prayer book, page 9. We offer thanks, O God, for this Shabbat which unites us in faith and hope, for Shabbat holiness which inspires sacred living, for Shabbat memories glowing even in darkness, for Shabbat peace born of friendship and love. We offer thanks and blessing, O God. And so now we continue with the lighting of our Shabbat candles on page 2. Let us light these lights and see the way to you, and let us say Amen. Let us light these lights and see the way to you, and let us say Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
We continue now with Yismechu v'Shamayim, and that's found on page 13 in your prayer books.
Yismechu hashamayim v'tagel haaretz yiram hayam umelo. Yismechu hashamayim v'tagel haaretz yiram hayam umelo. Yalalai lai 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 yalalai lai 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 yalalai lai 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 yalalai lai 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 yalalai lai Yismechu hashamayim v'tagel haaretz yiram hayam umelo. Yismechu hashamayim v'tagel haaretz yiram hayam umeno. Yalalai lai 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 yalalai lai 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 yalalai lai 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 yalalai lai 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 yalalai lai 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 yalalai lai 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 Yismechu hashamayim v'tagel haaretz yiram hayam umelo.
We turn to page 19. May Adonai grant strength to God's people. May Adonai bestow on God's people well-being. Continue with Psalm 29, Adonai Oz.
Adonai oz le'amo yitein, Adonai oz le'amo yitein, Adonai oz le'amo yitein, Adonai yevarech et amo, Adonai yevarech Shalom, Adonai yivarach et amo, v'shalom, v'shalom, Adonai oz
once again we return to greet the Sabbath bride on this Shabbat. We continue with L'chadodi, page 20.
לחדודי לקראת קהלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לחדודי לקראת קהלה, פני שבת נקבלה. שמור וזכור בדיבור אחד, השמיענו אל המיוחד, אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, לשם ולתפארת ולתהילה. לחדודי לקראת קהלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי היא מקור הברכה מראש, מקדם נסוכה, סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה. לחדודי לקראת קהלה, פני שבת נקבלה. התעוררי, התעוררי, כי באורך קומי אורי, 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 שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה. לחדודי לקראת קהלה, פני שבת נקבלה.
Rise and face the entrance. Welcome the Sabbath bride.
בואי ושלום, עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה. לחדודי לקראת קהלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לחדודי לקראת קהלה, פני שבת נקבלה.
We ask you to remain standing in the middle of page 27. Teach me, O God, a blessing, a prayer on the mystery of a withered leaf, on ripened fruit so fair, on the freedom to see, to sense, to breathe, to know, to hope, to despair. Together, teach my lips a blessing, a hymn of praise. As each morning and night you renew your days, lest my day be today as the one before, lest routine set my ways. We continue now with our call to worship, Baruch Hu 28.
Ya la 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 la, 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 ya la 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 la. Baruch Hu et Adonai, המבורך. Baruch Adonai המבורך, לעולם ועד, לעולם ועד. יא לה 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 לה, 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 יא לה 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 לה
Top of page 33. As you taught Torah to those whose names I bear, teach me Torah too. Its mystery beckons, yet I struggle with its truth. You meant Torah for me. Did you mean the struggle for me too? Don't let me struggle alone. Help me to understand, to be wise, to listen, to know. Lead me into the mystery. Baruch atah Adonai,
Ohev Amo Yisrael.
Shema Yisrael, page 34.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed.
You may be seated. We turn to V'ahavta on page 36.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בעם בשבתך, בביתך, ובלכתך, בדרך, ובשוכבך, ובקומך, וקשרתם להיות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך, ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Adonai Elohechem Emet. Page 41, 4-1. Sing the song of men and women joined in understanding and respect, the song of God's miracles, an earth protected and cherished, a gift for our children and the generations to come, the song of a land once ravaged by war, now quiet and content, her soldiers home to leave no more, the song of a world redeemed, the song of peace, Michamocha.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נורא תהילות אוסף אלה. Who is like you? Who is like you? Who is like you? Adonai, who is like you? Who is like you? Who is like you? Adonai. מלכותך ראו בניך, בו כי הים לפני משה ומרים, זה אלי אנו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, who is like you? Adonai, who is like you? Who is like you? Who is like you? Adonai.
Page 42. Grant, O God, that we lie down in peace. Raise us up. our guardian to life renewed. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Guide us with your good counsel, and for your name's sake, be our help. Hashkivenu.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, l'shalom. V'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim. Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha, ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha. Shelter us beneath your wings, O Adonai. Guard us from all harmful things, O Adonai. Keep us safe throughout the night, till we wake with morning's light. Teach us, God, wrong from right. Amen. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, l'shalom. V'ha'amidenu shomreinu l'chaim. Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha, ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha.
Page 44. We are a people in whom the past endures, in whom the present is inconceivable without moments gone by. The Exodus lasted a moment enduring forever. What happened once upon a time happens all the time. We continue with Vishamru, honoring the Sabbath day.
Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, lahasot et ha-Shabbat, לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל עוד היא לעולם, כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני, עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, וביום השביעי שבת וינפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת.
We continue with the tefillah on page 46. Please rise as you are able.
Adonai sifatai tiftach ufiai tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avoteinu ve'imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak ve'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel ve'Elohei Leah האל הגדול הגיבור והנורא אל עליון גומל חסדים טובים וקונה הכל וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם למען שמו באהבה מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן ברוך אתה אדוני מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע מוריד הטל מכלכל חיים בחסד מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים סומך נופלים ורופא חולים ומתיר אסורים ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומידו מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש וקדושים בכל יום יהללו סלה ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
Turn to page 55. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day, and may all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day, and may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai Kadesh Shabbat. We pause, and you can be seated. We turn to the silent prayer for a few moments of quiet reflection.
Page 60. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amha Tasim Leolam. Ki Atahu Adon lechol hashalom ki ata melech Adon lechol hashalom shalom rav al Yisrael amcha tasim leolam shalom rav Tasim leolam v'tov be'einecha levarech et לית ובכל שעה בשלומך. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. תשים לעולם. תשים לעולם.
Shabbat Shalom. A favorite annual post-Yom Kippur tradition, apart from partaking of a delicious break the fast, is the joy I find in reading the High Holy Day sermons of my dear colleagues around the country. Ensconced in my own preparations right here at Fairmount Temple, it is easy to forget or ignore that many of my rabbinic colleagues have been pondering deeply, reading widely, composing eloquently their own messages for the days of awe. In fact, sometimes I have a feeling of FOMO, fear of missing out, of being able to sit in congregations and listen to my friends and colleagues preach their deeply thoughtful sermons. As is the case for sermons given on Yom Kippur, my colleagues touched on the hurts and heels that accompany the solemn messages of the Day of Atonement. And yet there was also a strong sentiment towards resiliency. So I failed to mention, though, with the blessing of social media, my colleagues post their words for the benefit of all. And I will share that I discovered at least 4 other colleagues who preached on the same topic I did, regrets. Apparently, Daniel Pink's book, The Power of Regret, was widely read by the rabbinic set. A couple of us even compared notes and shared ideas before we delivered and finished products to our respective congregations. So there was a strong sentiment amongst my colleagues as I was reviewing what they were presenting on hope and resiliency. There was a thrust that signaled redemption even when things may look bleak. I was inspired by these messages, and even though I have not read them all, there are many. I'd like to highlight 3 of the sermons given by my colleagues and friends. Wisdom that we can find outside of these windows, so much wisdom. Rabbi Stephanie Colin, who was our guest rabbi for a couple of years, some of you may remember her, shared inspiring words at her temple, Temple Beth Elohim in Brooklyn, New York. In her sermon titled, ready for this? A Jedi Knight, a Voris Cone, and a Journey Toward New Horizons, Rabbi Colin, it wins the prize for best title. Rabbi Colin discussed the importance of rethinking what is our destiny and embracing the possibility of finding new paths unknown to us in the present. She shared, so I started reading this book. It's called Long Path by Ari Wallach. Ari is the son of a Holocaust survivor. He's also a futurist, which is someone who uses the tools of psychology, sociology, anthropology, technology, and more to study the future. Wallach writes about a particular challenge he sees when we try to picture our future. What we are most able to conjure, he says, is the official future, the most obvious outcome of our trajectory between what we already know now and some straight dotted line forward. And he teaches, Rabbi Colin says, it is very hard to imagine something significantly different than that dotted line that leads to that place that we anticipate we're going. That's just how our minds work. So when we read articles that tell us that the collapse of civilization is the most likely outcome, and we find ourselves ready to believe it, we are gazing out of the official future. It's a definite possibility, but Rabbi Colin writes, it's not the only possibility. Wallach invites us to look through something called the Voros cone, named for futurist Joseph Voros. Imagine for a moment a cone in which we look through the small end. It's wrapped loosely a few times around and so has different tunnels we could peer through. Our eyes want to look down the center, but the Voros cone invites us to adjust our gaze not here toward the official future, but there or there toward a different possible horizon, a desired future. In fact, Wallach suggests we not use the word future at all, but rather plural, futures. In some ways, Rabbi Coleman writes, it's just a gentle shift of the eyes. But what if we could follow that shift with our bodies, with our hearts, our strategies, our laws, and our choices? This is one of the very hardest things to do, to look past the short-term things coming at us all the time and imagine something that doesn't exist yet. When all the momentum and gravitational forces in the universe are pulling us toward what we think is already a done deal. But Yom Kippur, Rabbi Coleman writes, itself is a powerful Voros cone. Here we sit and gaze out at endless possible futures. We pray and sing and tap our chests with the revolutionary truth that something we do today could completely change how our story unfolds, shifting the horizon we wander toward. I've just only whet your appetite. If you'd like more, let me know. I'm going to try to post these on my Facebook page at the very least. But interesting, right? She talks about destiny, and that's the whole Jedi Knight piece. It's that Luke is being told by Darth Vader, this is your destiny. But she counters that and says, what if the destiny that we've been told we have is not our destiny? And it bore out in the Star Wars series. That was not the destiny. The dark side was not the destiny for Luke. So a great drosh, more to it, and again, I'm happy to send you the full sermon. Second colleague, so much wisdom. Rabbi Joel Mosbacher, a colleague and one of my closest friends, spoke about mortality, and for us all to get more comfortable with talking about death, as hard as it can be. It's a big theme during Yom Kippur, right? We empty out the ark of the Torahs, and it is supposed to symbolize the empty grave. In his sermon, who shall live and who shall die? Me. Rabbi Mosbacher invites us into the conversations we don't often want to have. He writes, but the topic of death scares us. It might worry or even obsess us, since we're not sure we know what happens to us when we die. The uncertainty can make us afraid. We as humans, by and large, don't really like what we don't or can't understand. But we should talk about death, about our experiences, our fears, our doubts. We shouldn't be obsessed with it, but we should talk about it. And here's why. Rabbi Mosbacher writes, for one thing, when we don't talk about death as a society, that topic gets pushed aside, and then no attention is paid to what might well be the most important experience in our lives, that has the ability to define how we live. We should talk about death because it defines how we live. Secondly, he writes, when we don't speak about the deaths we've experienced in our lives, when we don't process these experiences and feel whatever feelings they raise in us, we can be continually traumatized by them. The pain and loss we never fully allowed ourselves to grieve can ooze or explode out into other moments of our lives, causing harm and renewed pain, and can make us re-experience the loss over again. And lastly, he writes, if we are facing the death of a loved one and we haven't asked them about how they feel, about what they want to have happen when they die, we can be left holding enormous emotional baggage and big decisions that we're going to need to make, whether or not we've asked our loved ones what they want. Rabbi Mosbacher raises up what a lot of our colleagues do, which is creating ethical wills, creating opportunities for our congregants to talk to each other about creating support groups about death, normalizing that. Finally, third, Rabbi Karen Glazer Perlman spoke about the stillborn birth of her daughter and the attendant grief process that followed in a sermon called All These Things. Rabbi Perlman uses the iconic Israeli song Al Kol Eleh, meaning all these things, as a frame for her remarks. The song relates the nature of life, its joys and challenges, and of course, the bitter and the sweet. Here's an excerpt. Rabbi Perlman writes, Judaism embraces the bittersweet. There's that old adage, what is Jewish history? They tried to kill us, we survived, let's eat. And in seriousness, many Jewish holidays commemorate a pattern of persecution, salvation, and celebration. Dreidels and Hamantaschen and bowls of Haroset are all sweet symbols of bitter memories. On Rosh Hashanah, we have the sweetest of foods and greetings, and yet the sound of the shofar is designed to balance that sweetness with a painful cry, a cry of the brokenness in our world. It is even thought to sound like the painful cries of a person delivering new life. On Yom Kippur, Rabbi Perlman writes, there are no sweets. Our greetings to each other move from the joyous Shana Tova to Gemar Chatima Tova, a mouthful, which means, may you be written and sealed for good in the book of life. This day can be an exhausting run, she writes. We deny ourselves the pleasures of the material world and spend the day reflecting in prayer. But when the day comes to a close, we do not return to our homes with broken spirits. Rather, we break our fast with family and friends and look ahead to the new year with clean slates. In the life cycle, we also mark the brokenness and bittersweetness. We give new babies the names of those generations past. We break a glass right before a couple is married. And we gift Israel bonds and plant trees, knowing we will never see either mature. Our tradition and our history are concentric circles of joy and pain, dancing together, the bitter and the sweet. She raises up the story from the Talmud about the occasion of a funeral and a wedding heading down the street at the same time. And the rabbis ask, who gets to go first? The wedding or the funeral processional? And the rabbis rule that those who are traveling to the wedding get to move first because it's a joyful experience. And then you move to the funeral processional. But she quotes another rabbi, a colleague of ours, Rabbi Jen Gubitz, who wanted to recognize that the bitter and sweet exist together, and that she imagines a world where there are parallel streets, where the funeral processional and the trip to the chuppah happen at the very same time. And that's sometimes what happens in life. We celebrate and we mourn, and sometimes those feelings are mixed together in the very same life cycle event. I am continually inspired by my colleagues who have invested countless hours to deliver words that speak to the head, to the heart. The gravity of the days of awe bring out the best in the rabbis who serve all over this nation. I'm really proud of them. I certainly know what they go through in preparing for these days. And we know that the ears hearing those words are eager for drops of wisdom. And maybe that's the pressure that the rabbis feel. Can I drop a little wisdom? It is then fitting that this week's Torah portion, Ha'azinu, finds Moses delivering his final sermon to the Israelites. No, it's not a High Holy Day sermon, but it may as well be one. Ha'azinu means give ear, O heavens, let me speak. The Chatam Sofer says that Moses begins his sermon that way to shake up his listening public, effectively imparting that Moses seeks to afflict the comfortable and comfort the afflicted. That is, as I see it, one of the tasks of the preacher, to awaken the congregation to new ideas, to open new portals of thinking, and to leave temple with something to talk about and consider for the new year to come. Perhaps those words will agitate, perhaps those words will comfort. But at least we want our community to think, to turn it over again, to consider, and even reject. Your rabbis at Temple certainly hope we did some of that this High Holy Day season, and I'm certain our cantor awakened the music in your heart too. We feel very privileged to have spent these holidays with you and look forward to many more ahead. May this new year be one of sweetness and blessing. May the coming festival of Sukkot only bring happiness as we celebrate a life well lived. And we say, Amen. We are going to continue now with our Tfilat Mishaberach, our prayer for healing. You can find it in your prayer books on page 253. We think about those in our community who are in need of healing, healing of the body, healing of the spirit. We think about Ro Allen and Claire Mengele Linder, Ken Barkus and Kristen Barnes, Lori Blum, Rosalind Brooker, Ellen Brooks, Joe Callahan, Amy Cohen, Linda Craig, Josh Danielpour, David Drazen, Rabbi Jimmy Egolf, Ezra Ellenbogen, Linda Felder, George Fendel, Eric Fisher, Nina Fisher, Dr. Michael Foreman, Mary Freeman, Anna Greenfield,
Kara Greenwald, Rafi Hami, Stephen Heller, Lev Heschel ben Batami Yaakov, Robert Jackson, Rebecca Jacobson, Monica Jones, Ethan Kadish, Linda Kahn, Sheldon Kafin, Michael Kellner, Patricia Kipstool, Marla Lakin, Malka Batrivka, Maya Lapin, Tommy Lefkowitz, Charlie Lewis, Suzanne Loria, Ashley Marino, Jennifer Russell McGee, Scott Miller, Yosef Millis, Barbara Misney.
Our Rabbi Robert A. Nosenchuk, Carol Plank, Paula Platt, Jewel Price, Gail Ray, Bernice Reef, Cooper Saul Roberts, Joseph Rocchio, Gloria Rogan, Ben Rosa, Frank Rubin, Gordon Safran, David Schlein, Stephen Schlein, Alan Schwartz, Bob Schwartz, Sharon Schwartz, Greg Selker, Mona Senkfor, Steve Shacknow, Dr. James Silverblatt, Pat Singer, Linda Snyderman, Estelle Slutsky.
Alexia Stern, Michaela Stern, Liviana Briezolzer, Harold Tickton, Daryl Tyndall, Brenda Tinker, Misha Zetlin, Angel Whistner, Sophie Williams, Richard Wilson, Ilsabil Wolf, Eliza Bat Yitzchak Chaim HaKohen Vezelda Jenny, Kyla Bat Pesach Miriam, Mordechai Ben Henya, Sarah Esther Bat Avraham Vesara.
We also know that this list is not exhaustive. If you're thinking of someone at this time, we invite you to share that name. If you're watching on live stream, please feel free to share that name in the space where you are, or if you're on Facebook and streaming, you'd like to add that name, you can do so as well. But as my hand moves to the congregation, we invite you to share a name as well. We also think about those who suffer from addiction, depression, anxiety. We hold them close, and if you yourself are worshiping tonight with us and feel you're in need of healing, we want to hold you close as well as we continue on page 253, Tefillat Mishaberach.
Mishaberach Avotenu Avraham Yitzchak v'Yaakov Sarah Rivka Rachel v'Leah Hu Yivarech v'Yirapeh et hacholim Mishaberach Avotenu Avraham Yitzchak v'Yaakov Sarah Rivka Rachel v'Leah Hu Yivarech v'Yirapeh et hacholim Avotenu Avraham Yitzchak v'Yaakov Sarah Rivka Rachel v'Leah Hu Yivarech v'Yirapeh et hacholim.
From prayers of healing to blessings of joy, we take this time and acknowledge those who are celebrating milestone anniversaries or birthdays. We certainly have a couple here who are celebrating milestone anniversary. I'm looking at them. And you could rise at your seats, Tom and Bill. And is there anybody else who's celebrating a milestone birthday, anniversary? Lorenda? Say it again. Oh, okay, you were waving. We had a wave. It was a wave, that's all. Well, Mazel Tov, how many years? 7? I know, you're like, you should know, you were there. I know.
What's your secret? No secrets. The secret is no
that's
secrets.
It. It's like keep no secrets from each other. Okay, that's it. Okay. Open dialogue, honesty. It's always great. This is one of my favorite times of the year to celebrate your anniversary. Every time. We want to share a special blessing to acknowledge this special moment.
Please join with us. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehechianu v'kiyemanu v'higiyanu lazman hazeh.
Amen. Tom Rose, Bill Franklin, Mazel Tov. Keep coming back. We're so proud. We invite everyone to rise at your seats as we continue with Aleinu L'Shabeach, page 282.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
You may be seated. Page 291. There are stars up above, so far away we only see their light, long, long after the star itself is gone. And so it is with people that we loved. Their memories keep shining ever brightly, though their time with us is done. But the stars that light up the darkest night, these are the lights that guide us as we live our days. These are the ways we remember. As we turn to the Mourner's Kaddish on page 294, we think about those who have died in the last 30 days in the period of Shiva and Shloshim. We remember Jeffrey Sussel, Jill Babish, Elaine Harris Green, Gloria Greenwald, Rana Markowitz, and Alice Smolin. We also remember those who died at this season in years past in the period of Yahrzeit. We remember Leatrice Abrams, Max Ackerman, Samuel Joseph Edelstein, Henrietta Nisim Alkali, Marcella Nisim Alkali, Nisim Samuel Alkali, Richard Nisim Alkali, Yuda Samuel Alkali, Lois P. Alperin, Myra Benjamin Babin, Melody Cheryl Begleiter, Marjorie R. Beyer, Shirley Brown, Leonard Buckler, Miriam Burkons, Anna Chesler, Rochelle Rocky Seigan, Norman J. Danzig, Philip L. Danziger, Hattie Dettelbach, Sam Dubik, Paul Ellis, James B. Feibel, Lena Flock, Dr. Marvin N. Foreman.
Arthur W. Fox, Max Friedman, Simon First, Ben Gallen, Edith B. Gilbert, Sylvia Glick, Lillian T. Goldman, William Greenbaum, Stanley R. Harrod, Simon Hyman, Marta L. Henry, Carolyn Ison, Sadie Kamen, Jody Sukaplansky, Miriam Kitovsky, Leonard D. Kickler, William Kitt, Howard Klein, Adele Shapiro Klein, Morris Lang, Sam Laparow, Mary Newman Lee, Fanny R. Licht, Gary Mayers.
Claire Minoff, Pearl Middleman, Herman Paller, Lee Pissell, Beatrice Elsoffer Pasternak, Greta L. Pickus, Doris Rich, Francis Rosen, Adolph Rosenblum, Rosalind G. Rosewater, Lenore W. Schaffner, Ruben H. Sakharov, Regina Stern Schoenfeld, Betty Seidenberg.
Cyril Siegel, Samuel J. Silverman, Morris H. Smuckler, Marjorie H. Stonehill, Raymond M. Sussberg, Vera Weinberg, Malvin Wertheim, Gertrude K. West, Madeline Rose Wildberg, Esther Newman Weil, Lena Rothschild Wolf, Estelle Wolf, Reuben Wolf.
To this list, we add the names of the 6 million who perished in the Shoah, those who died in the Holocaust, and we say Kaddish for all those who have no one to say Kaddish for them. We invite you now to rise at your seats if you are a mourner tonight. And if you'd like to join our mourners, we continue on page 294 for the Kaddish praise. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
Be'alma divra chirute v'yamlich malchute. B'chayechon uvyomechon. Uvchaye dechol beit Yisrael. Ba'galau v'zman kari v'imru.
Amen.
Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam elomei omaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemeda kudesha.
Brichu.
Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechemata. Damiran be'alma v'imru.
Amen.
Yehei shalama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru.
Amen.
Oseh shalom b'mromav hu yaseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru.
Amen.
May the source of peace and peace to all who mourn, comfort to all who are bereaved, and we say together,
Amen.
you may be seated. As we turn to the conclusion of our service tonight, we'd like to lift up a couple of programs that continue on, even though Yom Kippur has concluded, the High Holy Days have not. That is why we still have the white curtains here and the white covers over the Torah. So we're looking forward to celebrating this next part of our season called Zman Simchatenu, the time of our season of our joy. We have our Sukkot and Simchat Torah programs. We have a virtual Sukkot Torah study, which is this Monday, October 10th at 9:15. If you'd like to join, you can RSVP to Stacy Cohen at scohen@fairmounttemple.org. That will take the place of Wednesday morning Torah study next week. So Monday, October 10th. And then we will have a family Sukkot gathering on Wednesday night, October 12th at 5:30. That is a bring your own picnic opportunity. It's for smaller kids, but anybody's invited.
Everybody is invited.
Okay. RSVP to Elizabeth Kleckner, ekleckner@fairmounttemple.org. We have a Fairmount Young Professionals Sukkot gathering, which is Saturday, October 15th. And that is at 6:30 p.m. You could RSVP to Fairmount, YP, for young professionals, @gmail.com. And then our Yizkor Memorial Service is Sunday, October 16th at 9:30 a.m. That's in person and live stream. And then our Simchat Torah celebration includes a light pizza dinner. So we ask you to RSVP so we just know how much to purchase. That's on Sunday, October 16th at 5:30, and you can RSVP to Elizabeth Kleckner once again.
There's one mistake. I think that it's the Fairmount Young Professionals, I think, is on Tuesday, October 11th at 6:30.
Oh, is that
p.m.
right?
Yeah. So double check the website for all the correct
This is really
dates
good to
and
know.
time.
Okay. Fantastic. And do you have anything else to add?
I'll just add that I'm thinking, Rabbi, you shared the words of 3 rabbis, but I'm thinking of all the people that are sharing your words today and continue to sharing your beautiful sermon, and I know I've been sharing it. So I know you shared the words of our rabbis, our rabbis gave some of the most meaningful, including Rabbi Caruso sermons that I've heard in a long time, and so I'm imagining that they're sharing your words tonight as well.
Thank you. Appreciate
That's all I got.
That's appreciate. Thank you. I appreciate that. Didn't even ask him to do that. I mean, that was really sweet. We're going to continue with our Kiddush and Motzi. Please, after services, atrium foyer, there are some treats and sweets. So feel free to pick up one. If you want to even take it to go, that's all right as well. All yours.
Please join with me. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen.
Chaim.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz.
Amen.
Still
B'tei
around.
avon. 62. Or could we conclude with Oseh Shalom?
But I don't think you need the words, because I think everybody knows
this.
this song. Oseh
Yeah.
Shalom, please join with us.
Why don't you join and rise if you're able for our final song.
Oseh Shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru amen. Ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, Ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael.
We're grateful to you, Joey Scotch. We're grateful to our ushers and our greeters. Thank you, Violet. Really appreciate your help tonight, keeping everybody in check. Shana Tova, Shabbat
Shana
Shalom.
Tova.